Debt is something almost anyone can relate to, whether it's student loans, credit cards, or even medical bills. Today we're reacting to some eye-opening TikToks that show just how many people are struggling with it. Let's dive in. Starting off with some student debt.
You want to know what's so funny? I posted a video the other day talking about the fact that I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, majority of that being student loans. And the response from people is just absolutely wild. And I'm sitting here responding to comments of people shaming me, and they're trying to wonder how it even got to this point. They're trying to put me down, saying I'm never going to pay it off. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I went to school, did what I had to do to become a nurse to help people. And people were shaming me for doing that. I went to school to get a career where I can better people's lives, save lives, and I'm being shamed for the way that I had to do it. I put my
Yeah, I think that's like a common just kind of perception of how people react to certain stuff, and they don't always target, let's say, the energy or maybe even the hate in the correct areas. You know what I mean? So here, for example, she took out all that debt because guess what? College in America, pretty expensive, okay? But people are like blaming her, saying maybe there was cheaper ways to do it or this, that, and the other. Whereas really, people should be like, wait, that's way too expensive. Why is that expensive? And like blame the institutions and like the government and stuff. So I always find that quite interesting. But yeah, that's really tough. I hope nurse salaries are high in the US. I feel like they are.
myself in a financial burden to go get a degree, to help people, to save lives, to better people's lives. And I'm being shamed for the way that I had to do it because I didn't have mommy and daddy paying for my college. I had to take out student loans. You don't even realize how bad student loans can get, because in the moment when tuition is due, all you're thinking about is making that tuition date and paying the tuition. So you just signed. That's how it gets to where it is. You just signed because you have to do what you have to do in that moment in order to accomplish your goals. And that's what
Yeah, that's another thing like I haven't had to kind of deal with, I suppose, having the luxury of a cheaper education in a European country. But like I'm just thinking, if I was 18 at this stage or whatever going to college, everybody's getting student loans. The amount is so ridiculous. I know I can't get it myself. I'm just gonna accept the student loans. Like I think it's really unfair to just like attack people for doing that. Like in the moment, it's just an easy answer, and it's what most people are doing. So it's kind of difficult.
I did. And I'm being shamed for that. Y'all are shaming a nurse, okay, for doing what she had to do in order to help people.
So up next, we got somebody talking about medical debt from medical bills. This kind of once again is a US kind of problem. Now, I know, you can meme on the healthcare and stuff. Europe does get like free healthcare to an extent, but of course, nothing's free. It just means it's funded by our taxes. So there is that, and you can just get private health insurance. But the US still does take it to that extreme, especially without insurance.
This one, because I did want to address this, medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America today, and it is one of the most heartbreaking debts. I mean, I really feel that because you didn't want this. You don't choose always what happens to you and your health, and it is so difficult. And so, I mean, honestly, like the first thing I would do is just to get on a good payment plan so you can at least stay current on what's going on. It's one of these things that it's like, golly, it's a baby step at a time to pay it off, and I think it's terrible. It's so sad. And so people do it though. I want to encourage you in that it is possible. And if there's ongoing medical expenses, like making sure that you're able to, again, try not to get deeper in the hole and cash flow those, but staying current is like the first goal.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is, though, you're like trying to cash flow, but if the amount is just so ridiculous, you're not going to be able to, because that's just kind of the American prices for healthcare, it seems. So really, I just don't know how you would do that without like a serious amount of money. And at that stage, you should have health insurance. So if you get trapped without health insurance, you're probably struggling for money anyways. So there really doesn't seem to be an answer at that stage. Now, next up, we do have somebody with just a lot of debt. A lot of it is car debt as well. Over 100K of debt. Let's get into it.
My husband is 26 and we are in 101.2K worth of debt. So luckily none of that is credit card debt. But
if you missed it, so she's 22 and her husband is 26, but 100K debt that fast, insane.
I want to join the whole 2025 debt payoff trend. Anyway, so our debt is made up of my car loan, my husband's truck loan, and our camper loan.
That's 3 vehicle loans just by itself.
I owe $26,985.54 on my car. My husband owes $44,570.90 on his truck, and then we owe $29,829.53 on our camper.
So yeah, basically 100K just on cars. I just don't understand. I don't even understand why banks give out like loans so easily for vehicles, which is just a guaranteed depreciating asset. Like, I don't understand how they can just chuck like 50K at you, right? But then if you say wanted to get, I don't know, 50K for something else, it would be so difficult to get approval. But for a car, which is literally a depreciating asset, they give you the money. But yeah, it's got to be one of the worst loans as well, because you're buying something that drops in value while paying interest on the loan for the luxury. Like, ideally, you should really be cash flowing a car. Obviously, not always possible, and you might need a car for work and stuff. But from what I've seen from other finance creators, it seems 10 to 15K you can get a good car for in the US. So I definitely advise doing that instead of like getting loans. Later on in the video, we also have somebody breaking down the average amount Americans have for each loan category. So like how much they have in student debt, how much they have on car loans, stuff like that. So we'll get onto that soon. But next up, we're going to be talking about credit card debt.
When I tell people how much credit card debt I have, they usually say, how is that possible? You're so irresponsible. You're so young to have that much debt. And then I tell them that the bill for the emergency room, which I was in about 12 hours, where they started finding that I had cancer, was $800,000. And that usually makes them real sized.
But like, I just don't understand. Like, how do you even add up? Because they have to itemize some sort of bill to charge you with 800 grand, right? Like, how do you even get to 800K for 12 hours? I just don't understand how that's possible. Now, what's interesting about that is she talks about that medical debt, 800K, cool. But she then mentions she has credit card debt, so I guess she just couldn't even like make the payment, so she started using credit cards, and it's just a downward spiral. To be honest, at 800K, I'm declaring bankruptcy. Like, I'm not paying off 800K with a medical debt, personally. There's absolutely no way. This video is brought to you by me. If you guys are enjoying this video, please do consider liking and subscribing to help grow the channel. Let's continue with the video. Now here we got the breakdown of the averages for different categories of debt. So let's get into it. It's really interesting.
Average monthly car payment in the US for new cars is $667.
That's like pretty close to a rent payment, and you're paying it on your depreciating car. But Americans do love their cars, and in their defense, you do have to drive everywhere in the US. I hate how not walkable US cities are. It really bothers me.
The average credit card debt is over $5,000.
Average credit card debt at 5,000. I mean, it's obviously like relatively high, but I did think it would actually be higher. So I'm actually kind of surprised it's not too high.
Average mortgage debt is $220,000. Average.
So mortgage debt 220,000. I mean, it's not crazy high. Also, that's what I would call good debt instead of bad debt. At least you're building equity in the home, and the alternative is paying rent. So I'm not too fussed about that. However, it is still like a monthly payment you have to find the money for, but it would be the same with rent. So I don't really count that too much.
Auto loan debt and lease is over $20,000. And the average.
Wow, $20,000 on average for good old vehicles, good old cars. It's just such a big amount of money to also be paying those interest rates, right? Because I'm pretty sure like the car loans in the US, they gotta be like 9% probably nowadays on average. That's a lot of money, man. Just so you have a nicer car that probably goes at the same speed as most other cars, probably has about the same safety. Like, I can't imagine the details are that big. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not a car guy, so maybe it is. I just find it so difficult to justify it.
Average student loan debt is over $30,000. Moral of the story.
Average student loan debt, 30K as well. To be honest, this is another one where, you know, I kind of saw being at that number just because I know American colleges and universities and stuff are just so expensive. It's really, really tough because I feel that really is one you get peer pressured into and feel like you have to do that. So a lot of Americans, I believe, are just starting life out in negative equity, and considerable negative equity at that.
Story is the next time you see someone living their dream life, keep in mind they're likely a part of that average. There are people nowadays that live above their means and they have to pay for it through massive debt. I don't know about you, but I'm almost 30 and I'm in no rush to be house poor. I got no debt to my name and I want to keep it that way.
To be fair, I would still, you know, this house poor thing is if you go into like negative equity, I believe. I still think like getting a mortgage and stuff, using that good debt can be helpful. But in most of those other circumstances, absolutely not. She also touches on people living above their means. That's a lot of people. And I personally do blame social media a lot. I know that's a bit of controversy, but I think a lot of people wouldn't do a lot of stuff. They wouldn't go to that certain place, do that trendy thing, buy that special looking thing, if they didn't have social media to show it off. But that's mine. And we're heading into the last TikTok of the video. Let's get straight into it.
I'm in debt. A lot of debt. I have multiple credit cards, a car loan, a personal loan for a surgery that I had. And yeah, I'm stressed out about it and frustrated. And I thought, I'm gonna make this TikTok channel to hold myself accountable. So I'm determined to get out of debt in a year. $100,000.
100K in a year? I mean, I rate the ambition, but let's see.
In a year. I made a pretty good income last year. I'm in sales, so...
Okay, if you're working in sales, I guess something like that is doable, but that means you have to make 100K net after tax and just have like no living expenses. But hey, maybe she's making an absolute killing. The real issue is when you do get a bit older and like you're not in your 20s anymore. If you're like in a lot of debt, that also probably means you don't have these savings and retirement kind of built up, which is really scary because you lose all that compound growth. So trying to build up like retirement savings. Now, to be fair, she might have like a 401k, stuff like that. So she might be okay, but normally people like withdraw that stuff to try and pay off debt. So yeah, retirement is really something I would be concerned about as well.
There's no telling what my income will be this year.
Well, I hope it goes well for her. To be fair, in sales, and if she does keep at it and does it really aggressively, I guess it is probably doable to do in like 1 to 2 years. But yeah, like I said, that main concern for me is going to be trying to build up that retirement as soon as possible. If you guys did enjoy today's video, feel free to check out some more on the channel. Feel free to subscribe to grow the channel and like the video if you like the video. I'll see you guys next time.